Hey Homespot friends, welcome back. Ready to escape into a world of weathered wood, pale blooms, and peaceful textures? In today's video, we're exploring shabby chic rustic gardens where muted colors and vintage accents transform simple spaces into soulful retreats. From mossy stones to lime-washed finishes, you'll see ideas that feel calm, lived in, and beautifully imperfect. Let's step through the gate and start our journey. Soft light slips through a vine-draped pergola, brushing flaking white beams and a path of crushed limestone. Lavender and dusty pink borders breathe a faded perfume. Time-worn grain, gentle shadows, and a hush of morning make this walkway feel like a cherished memory returning home. The garden stretches in muted layers, sage, mauve, and pearl, where creeping time softens edges and bees linger. Each imperfect board tells of seasons past, a tender patina made by rain and sun. With every step, the scene invites slower breaths, quieter thoughts, and unhurried wonder. A slim ribbon of meadow drifts along a split-rail fence, moving where the wind persuades. Pale echinacea nod in time with airy grasses, each seed head a little clock of summer. The palette stays hushed, breathing space into the view and leaving room for silence. Footsteps hush on the margin as swallows skim the field's surface. Sun-bleached rails cradle the scene with quiet resolve, framing a countryside lullaby. Nothing insists, yet everything belongs: soft textures, tender tones, and that slow, wind-borne rhythm that settles the heart without asking. Time-worn bricks trace simple quadrants, their edges softened by years of use. Inside, silvery herbs and chalky pastels gather like old friends, content an understatement. The design is modest by choice, balanced lines, gentle symmetry, and a calm that rises from careful, rustic order. Here, patina is the language and fragrance the punctuation. Each bed exhales thyme and lavender, while mortarless joints invite moss to write its handwriting. The parterre feels permanent yet forgiving, a steady geometry that lets color fade gracefully without losing its voice. Salvaged stones climb a slope one irregular tread at a time, velvet by moss and stitched with time. A chipped iron rail stands companionably nearby. Dappled shade drifts over lichen freckles, and the steps seem to remember every rain, every leaf that ever paused here. The ascent is unhurried, a quiet pilgrimage through greens and grays. Each landing offers a breath, each rise a new angle on the garden's muted tapestry. Imperfection guides the way, proving that worn edges can hold the strongest sense of welcome. A peeling blue gate swings to reveal a gravel alley, where muted roses listen for bees. Galvanized watering cans rest like retired tools turned sculpture, catching soft backlight. The first crunch underfoot announces arrival, but the hush that follows makes you stay. Faded petals, dusty foliage, and pale pebbles share a single language: gentleness. Beyond the gate, distance narrows into intimacy as perfume drifts low along the path. Time here loosens its grip, letting you wander between memory and meadow without choosing either. Curved branches knot themselves into an arbor, weather silvered by salt and sun. A vintage bench waits beneath, surrounded by lamb's ear, ferns, and off-white spires of foxglove. The world beyond fades to a whisper. Here, texture and light speak in soft consonants. Bleached grain and velvety leaves make a tactile duet, inviting fingertips and thoughts alike to slow. You feel the air cool under the canopy, smell clean earth, hear the quiet. It's a nook that gathers the weary and returns them, steady. Rustic timber beds keep tidy company, guiding vegetables and blush roses into an easy alliance. Faded terracotta punctuates the gravel, while dew threads green leaves with silver. The potager's order feels human-scaled, practical, lovely, and comfortably sun-softened along every edge. Paths crunch lightly as bees negotiate between nasturtium and bean blossom. Pastel tones make abundance seem serene rather than loud. It's a garden that feeds two hungers at once: the soil's readiness to give and the eye's need for quiet beauty. Against a lime-washed wall, a pear tree learns the grace of geometry. Branches settle into elegant lines, leaves hovering like soft notes on staff paper. Mauve and dusty blue plantings gather below, tempering brightness with calm and giving the walls light a place to rest. The scene reads like a margin in a beloved book, clean, precise, yet softened by time. Limewash takes sunlight and returns it as silk. Palliard shapes become a meditation on patience, proof that restraint can bloom just as surely as exuberance. Water rests like glass inside a ring of lichen-dusted stones. Subdued lilies float, small lanterns of pale color amid desaturated greens. A rusty hand pump keeps watch, more memory than mechanism now, adding a note of history to this chorus of stillness. The surface mirrors sky and branch until a breeze edits the line. Every reflection is a conversation with calm, each ripple a gentle afterword. Here, sound softens to water language, hushed, deliberate, and time measures itself by the widening circles you can barely see. Sun-bleached boards stretch toward a border of pale grasses, where movement is perpetual but never urgent. Planter cutouts frame small worlds, roots, soil, the tender architecture of growth. The deck's grayed grain is honest, a record of summers that asked for nothing but presence. Edges blur between wood and planting, so the step outdoors feels like continuing a sentence. The palette keeps to sand, smoke, and sage, smoothing even the brightest day. This is a threshold made for bare feet, slow conversations, and the luxury of unhurried shade. A circular room of gravel gathers the garden like an embrace. At its center, a cracked stone sundial keeps ceremonial time. Artemisia and faded pink dianthus ring the space, softening geometry with fragrance and a powdery, muted bloom. Breathing feels easier here. The circle offers choices without urgency. Linger, look, listen. Crunching footsteps become punctuation in a sentence of calm. Each pass around the dial returns a little differently, as light and shadow make new meanings of familiar forms. The garden feels fluent and quiet. Reclaimed barn doors slide into focus. Their rough grain a patient canvas for muted delphiniums and antique roses. The wood holds yesterday's weather in every line, while color hovers lightly, a watercolor wash against strength. This is rustic drama told in whispers. The border stays slim, disciplined, letting texture lead. Petals blur at the edges like memory, and the doors lend scale without shouting. Together, they create a stage where stillness performs, and the audience is simply anyone willing to pause. Low stone walls step the slope into quiet terraces, each level a page of soft color planting. Moss takes the margins, and a weathered bench crowns the rise. Hand-laid, hand-kept, the masonry holds the hillside the way a cupped palm shelters water. From below, the garden reads as lines and pauses. From above, as chapters and rests. Stone, leaf, and light collaborate, letting muted tones carry melody. The terrace invites long looks, the kind that settle into you and stay. A small greenhouse leans into the day, panes clouded with age, frames bleached by seasons. Pea gravel crunches underfoot as pale hollyhocks and foxgloves stand sentinel. Zinc planters anchor the edges, giving the corner a useful weight beneath all that gentleness. Inside, fogged glass edits the sun into kindness. Outside, chalky pastels converse softly, never demanding attention and somehow earning it. The whole vignette feels like a workroom where beauty is repaired, not manufactured, one careful minute at a time. Bleached driftwood lines a sandy gravel path, guiding the eye through dune grasses and pale sea thrift. The wind rehearses constantly, arranging motion into music. Palette and texture feel ocean-washed, subtle, salted, and softened, like a shoreline daylight never fully leaves. Here, the garden borrows the coast's humility. Nothing is polished, everything is honest. Grasses bow, petals whisper, and the path continues as if memory had direction. It's a landscape for looking far and feeling near. A cracked flagstone path meanders through dusty greens and blush blooms, where self-seeders write their own map. At the end, a chipped urn waits like a small prize of patience. Sunlight schemes the surface, turning wear into character, absence into invitation. What was broken became interesting. What was empty, generous. The path forgets straight lines and remembers discovery instead. Every joint is a pocket for possibility, and every step tells you to notice what grew without permission and how right it looks. Where lawn gives to shade, log edging and muted hostas lay out a gentle welcome. Enamel buckets show their patina like metals, catching fragments of leaf light. The ground is a quilt of moss and humus, stitched by roots you'll never see. Crossing here feels like entering a chapel with a green ceiling. Cooler air folds around ankles. Birds hold the rafters. Colors desaturate into peace, and the garden lowers its voice. The threshold is modest, but the change it marks is profound. Weathered posts and ropes sketch a quiet utility, encircled by pale borders and a whitewashed shed. Sun-faded textures set the mood, work once done, hours now resting. The scene is humble, spare, and unexpectedly lyrical, like a familiar tune played softly. Here, simplicity outlasts fashion. The courtyard's colors lean toward chalk and straw, letting small details shine, a knot in timber, a brush mark in paint, the neat line of gravel. Practicality becomes poetics when time does the finishing. Thanks for wandering these tranquil paths with me. We explored soft pastels, aged materials, and understated forms that let your garden breathe, proof that quiet design can stir deep emotion. If this rustic charm inspired you, please like the video, subscribe to Homespot, and share your thoughts in the comments. Your support helps grow this community and keeps the ideas blooming. See you in the next garden.